Hey guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Now or Never podcast. My name is Chloe.
And I'm Kennedy.
So I want to hear about your trip.
So we went to Tampa on Saturday. We left. We were looking for apartments and just kind of like exploring like the area down there because we might move in the summer, which you obviously already know about. But so we went down for my birthday weekend and went to a couple of the gyms there. MI40 gym.
How was that?
Was one of them. Really nice. Really expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
how was the vibe in there?
It was good. So it was very quiet. We went there. So Saturday we got there to Tampa and didn't really have. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock at night, so we like didn't really have anything going on. Like made dinner at home, and then Sunday morning went to MI40. So I feel like Sunday is like normally like a rest day for people. But it was really quiet. There was like not that many people there. I mean, music wasn't like super loud or like blasting anything like that. It was like a smaller space than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it would be bigger, but like all the equipment that they had there was like really nice. The guest pass was like $35 for like each one person. So it was like $70 to go there for the day. But a lot of like, I think like a lot of IFBB pros and like the Mr. Olympia trains there. So like very, I guess, prestigious gym. Yeah. Or like selective.
Do they have you have to like apply to go to that?
Yeah, there's like a 17-page wait list to be able to like get to the gym or like be a member at the gym. Wow. And Joe was talking to one of the guys that worked the front desk before we left, and they were saying like for pros it's like $100 a month, and if you're not a pro it's like $175 a month. You're
like, what about my significant other?
I'm like, I can't spend $200 a month on a gym membership.
You're like, do I get the IFBB pro discount? I know, because like I'm his girl.
Motivation to get my pro card.
Yeah, it's like I better train extra hard now
for real. But we went to a couple other gyms. So there's like a powerhouse gym. Have you ever been to a powerhouse gym before?
I've been to the one in Tampa.
The one in Tampa.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
It was good. I mean, yeah, it was like nothing special, to be honest.
I wasn't like overly impressed with it. I had never been to a powerhouse gym before. So for whatever reason, I thought they were just like nicer, like
same.
Like still like a not like a Globo gym, I guess, but like
it
nicer.
Was like, yeah, it was kind of. I was expecting like similar to like a Uflex type of thing, but it almost gave me like corporate vibes.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe that I got too.
Yeah,
I mean, it was still like a good training session, but we were just trying to figure out like where we would make like our home base. Joe really likes MI40. Like he would honestly probably train there, which I would. I mean, if I was
for a gym that's worth it,
yeah, for sure. So I mean. And he really, really liked it there. And they have such good equipment there. Like all of the back pieces, I trained pull there. So I did like my glutes and then like posterior chain. And it was such a nice workout. Like it was such a good lift. Probably the best lift that I had while I was there. And then Optimum Gym. Have you heard of that gym?
Yes, but I haven't been there.
So the girl at the front desk was like, "Oh, this is like the booty gym of
Tampa." You're so like, okay, sign me up.
Yeah. So they have like all of the.
Did you train glutes there?
Yeah, so it was my leg day.
Oh, nice.
That's what I trained yesterday on my birthday. So legs on my birthday.
Absolutely, cake. Gotta get the birthday cake.
It ended up not being like the best workout ever because I was just like overwhelmed.
Sometimes I feel like overwhelmed in a new gym and I don't have like a good workout.
I know, and that's kind of how it was, especially like because Joe wasn't there with me, so I was like, not that I like need a lifting buddy. It would have been nicer to have like. I don't know, just have him be like, yeah, just do this machine or this machine. This one's probably better than this one. Like, I don't know which one's like the best. So I was like trying out every single one.
He can like point you in the right direction.
I was like trying out every single one and then like never actually doing like a full set where I was like going like as heavy as I could on one like movement. Yeah. Cause I'm just like, I wanted to try them all.
It's like a playground.
And they had like a little outdoor section, which was really nice too. But it was small, mostly like plate loaded machines out there.
That's still fun though.
Yeah, it was super fun. Again, another small gym. Like none of them were like super big, like how Uflex is, which I was surprised about. But I got a couple other recommendations of like other gyms there that we'll just check out.
That's good though that you got to try them out because then you can have an idea of like where you want to go when you go.
Yeah,
if you when you end up moving there.
Have you ever? So you've never been to the Optimum or MI40 before?
No, I've only been to Powerhouse.
When did you go to Tampa?
I went there in like 2022 in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Me and my really good girlfriend, we stayed in Hyde Park.
That's where we were.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally the best.
It was super nice.
Yeah, so we went there, and I wanted to text you to go to this one coffee shop there called, I don't know where in Tampa it is, but it's called Oxford Exchange, and it's like so bougie.
Really?
But it's so good, and I was like, oh, they have to go when they're there, but I forgot.
No, we went to this one place. Maybe you went there too. Armature Works.
No. Okay, so coming back from like a trip, how are you feeling getting back in routine and everything? Is it hard?
Oh,
Or are you ready?
No, I'm definitely ready. I was just talking. We were talking on the drive home. Like, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow and just be like back in the monotony of everything. Like, it's so nice to unwind and like be on vacation, but it's also like when you have like such a structured schedule.
Do you get like anxiety?
Yeah, a little bit. I think like honestly, I feel like roles are usually reversed, and like Joe is the one that's like more anxious about like being super regimented while we're on vacation, and I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever. Yeah. And then I was more anxious this time around, and he was just like, Kennedy, it's your birthday weekend, like just like enjoy it. Yeah. And it was definitely nice I kind of just had to give myself a little bit of grace and be like, it's fine, it's not the end of the world, it's 4 days. And like I was doing everything I could as far as like focusing on like water and like trying to like eat as like a few meals on plan a day, so like I'm not just like not eating anything and then like stuffing my face later. We just like enjoyed dinner each of the nights. But it's definitely like your body just kind of craves that consistency again. Yeah. And sometimes it can be harder than others getting like to get back into like the swing of things. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm definitely like, all right, vacation mode is no more. Like it's time to get back into the consistency of everything.
It's good. And I feel like a lot of people that bodybuild and live this lifestyle and everything, we have a hard time being present when we go on vacation because we're always like trying to be super structured, but it's always important like, okay, it's 4 days, like I need to make the most of it with my man, like enjoy it while I'm here, and then we can get back to it when we get back home. But I get it, because when I go out of town too, I'm like ready to get back to it when I get home.
And I think there's like a time and a place too. So like, I mean, if you're someone that's like always traveling and like,
oh yeah, that's true,
always doing something, whether it's for like work or business, like pleasure, whatever it may be, like I don't think that is reasonable to be like, oh, okay, well, you know, when I'm going and visiting my friends or doing this, like every single time you're going to be off plan, like
because then I think you have to make progress.
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to be a little bit honest with yourself. But if it's like I haven't been on a vacation in 6 months and I've been for the most part like on it, you know, it's a little bit of time where you're like not 100% is not going to be the end of the world, but like it is possible to
usually pick and choose.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it would have been totally possible for me to be like 100% on plan, and like I think that's part of the reason too why you can get into the habit of like beating yourself up a little bit,
because you felt like you could have been like perfect or whatever.
Yeah, I'm like there's no reason why I couldn't have, like we had our own kitchen, like whatever. But I mean, you can always find like some type of an excuse one way or the other of like, oh, I don't need to be like, oh, we're busy, we're doing this. Like you can definitely make it work.
You can.
It was just one of those things where I was like weighing out the pros and the cons of like each, and I'm like, honestly, I just would rather not stress about it right now. Like I don't want to stress about food. I want to just be able to like get the most out of this very short amount of time that we had, because we were looking at gyms, we were looking at apartment complexes, houses. Like it was a weekend to get away, but it was also like we needed to be productive at the same time. And so I didn't want to have to deal with the stress of like running back and forth to the house, trying to prep meals and bringing things to go, and just kind of like separating the two for 4 days.
It's good you made that decision before you left, though. Then you wouldn't be like, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Just planning ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's good that you
have you had that happen to you at all recently?
No, I feel like when I go, I mean, it depends. Like when I go through a long like cutting phase or something and I go on vacation, I mean, I don't know if coaches would recommend this, but I'm not going to be tracking my food or like anything. Like when I finished my show in 2022, went to Florida for like 4 days, and I just ate 3 meals a day, and I just kind of ate whatever I wanted in moderation, and just was able to be like super present with my girlfriend, which you can still do if you decide to bring meals, because I travel all the time to go see Derek because he lives out of town, or like go see my family, and I always like pack my food and meal prep and everything and just bring it with me. So you can still be prepared and enjoy your life at the same time. But like you said, it's like just weighing out when you want to do that and when. Oh yeah. For sure. So
I think like we did that. We had like the cooler packed and stuff, and we just had like meat, and then we brought our rice cooker.
Some people think it takes like so long too to get prepared, like prepare your meals, but you can literally take like 15 minutes and just prep your meals for the next day or something. Or if you are going somewhere with a kitchen and you want to stay on plan, like going to the grocery store as soon as you get there and just buy the stuff that you need and bring your little food scale with you.
Yeah.
That can always fit in the suitcase. So
for sure. Our battery died on ours. Like I almost, we have 2 of them, and I almost didn't bring the second one. And I was like, I'm just going to bring it just in case. And then the batteries died on one of them. So I'm like, well, it's so good.
At least we have one more.
We didn't have to make the run to the store to get more batteries. So
when so you just made a ton of progress doing your cut that you've done, and now you're doing a little bit of like a foot push phase and everything. In between your time of like powerlifting and bodybuilding and all that stuff, have you gone into a place where you've gotten uninspired and like feeling like you're stuck like in a rut type of thing?
I feel like probably. I don't have like one like large chunk of time where I can like think of like, oh, I was like in a massive rut for like a month or 2 or however many like on end. I feel like it just comes and goes in like in waves, and it's for me, I just try and like compartmentalize and like figure out where like it might be coming from. Like, am I in a rut because I'm like super busy with like other things outside of the fitness industry, like, you know, work, or like just like stressed about something else? Like, is that what's kind of a barrier? Or is it because I've been like off plan with my meals? Is it because I'm like bored with my training, which is like not always a reason to switch things up, but like just kind of trying to figure out like where the lack of like motivation lies. Cause like at the end of the day, like we do this because we love it. And like, you don't want to get into a point where like, a lot of bodybuilders are creatures of habit, where you're just going through the motions and like doing the same things, like hopefully with intensity, like each and every day. But like, if you're constantly doing that, like it's very easy to get into a place where you're just like feeling like you're doing it because you have to do it instead of because you want to do it. And so I think it just like takes being honest with yourself to figure out where you might be lacking and like what needs to be changed, if anything. And
like switching the mindset. I feel like sometimes if you get, at least, I don't know, some people can get into a victim mentality type of thing. Like, oh, I don't want to do this, at least in prep. Like, because at the very end of prep, like you may actually be feeling like that at the very end of prep. And I think it's a good time to mindset shift and be like, well, actually no one's forcing me to do this.
Yeah, you get to do this.
You're choosing to do it.
I had someone, when we went to Florida for the Olympia this past year, I was like still in my dieting phase. And so I was this was actually a vacation where I was like, I am going to try and be like 100% on plan. Like I don't want to like use this as a time to like slack off. And there was like maybe like one meal that I had off plan or whatever. But like other than that, like I was like pretty on point. And so I remember I was going, I think it was like later at night to do cardio because I hadn't done it like earlier in the day, or like we slept in or something like that. And my phone had died, and I had asked the guy behind the counter, I was like, hey, like, would you mind like charging my phone for me or whatever? Like, I have to do cardio right now. And he's like, you don't have to do cardio right now. You get to do cardio right now.
Oh, wow.
And he like gave me like a little mini like life lesson right there. Just kind of like,
you needed that.
Like, you need to like shift your mindset right now. Like, no one's forcing you to do this. Like this is like you get to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I think he used an example of like someone like who like is like in a wheelchair or like something like that, who like would be like kill to be able to like move their legs again. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a jerk right now. Like this is, but it was so true. It was like super eye opening, being like, wow, this is not the way that I want to come off like in the world. Like I don't want people to perceive me like, oh, I'm like complaining about like this, that, and the other thing. Like I want to be someone that's
like a
gonna
positive
like
person,
attack it like head on,
half full type of person.
Yeah, exactly. And then that was the best cardio session I ever had. I was like, you know what? I wanted him to charge my phone for like so I could listen to my music, and I was like, you know what? I don't even need music. I got this.
Sometimes like it is really easy to get into a little bit of a negative mindset. So when you have that, like you just needed that guy to kind of give you that reminder, and then you're like, oh, I needed that. It's almost like when you get sick and you're stuck in your bed. If you get super sick or something and you're stuck in your bed for a day or two, and you're just like, I don't remember how it feels to like have a healthy feeling
Yeah.
body. I just want to like go outside and everything. So always reminding yourself
That
about
happened
that.
to me recently too. When I was sick, I was,
You were like bedridden.
I was
weren't you?
so sick for like a day or
Yeah.
two. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. Like, and while I was sick, I was beating myself up. I was like, no, like you can like just go outside, like get fresh air, like go for a walk. But I was just being so
Yeah.
like on it. I was sick and I probably needed to rest, but like I just felt like I could have been doing more and I wasn't. And I'm just like, that's kind of where you try
It's
to like toe
hard.
the line of like, do I need to listen to my body and rest, or would it be beneficial for me to like actually like move and like, you know, however else that looks, instead of being like, oh, I'm sick, like I'm just gonna stay
That's
curled
so
up in
true.
bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's definitely different levels of illness for sure.
Because you might need just a little sunshine and a walk, and that
Yeah,
might help you feel better.
exactly. Like you never know if it's gonna make you feel like you could feel worse from just laying in bed and doing
That's
nothing
true.
compared to like if you're actually like moving about and
Very true.
what have you. So
Yeah. I think that's a good point though, when you are getting out of a rut, to address where is that rut coming from. And I feel like some people expect to feel motivated all the time, and people just have to realize it's just about taking your emotions out of it sometimes and just like making it a habit and doing it even if you don't feel like it, and you just keep going.
I feel like the hardest part too is like getting like started again. Like when you're like off, depending on like how off you are, like it's very easy to fall down the rabbit hole of like
you feel like you're spiraling out of control.
Yeah, and you're like you just like can't reel it back in.
It's hard.
I think the biggest thing, and I'm not saying this because I feel like I do this perfectly or because I like have it under control. Like I struggle to get back into the swing of things too. And
then once you're on and you're crushing it.
Yeah, but I think it's like you just have to give yourself that little bit of grace, like moving into like trying to get back into the swing of things, but like don't try to like overwhelm yourself and be like, oh, okay, I need to eat every single meal on plan today. Like yes, have that goal, but like just start with the next meal. Like you don't have to like, you don't have to worry about like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. It's like, okay, just focus on that one meal, then focus on the next one, and then so on and so forth. Like you don't have to have this like big elaborate plan to like getting back on track. It can just be like, wake up, drink your water, eat your, like it can just be simple and like take it day by day or meal by meal, however that looks.
I like looking at it that way, because what I've been caught up in recently is because I'm trying to like make some progress at the moment, which I have been in the gym. Just outside of the gym is where I've been having a hard time in terms of meals and stuff like that. But looking at it in that perspective has helped me. Like, let's take it day by day. Like in your head, you can just say, okay, just for today, I'm going to do this. Okay, you wake up the next day. Okay, just one more day. Like I can do it again. And then all those days start adding up. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I just accumulated 60 days of being on point with all my stuff. And then that's when you start making that progress and you feel like you're in control, I guess.
Yeah. What do you feel like the hardest part is for you to get back into like the swing of things, like after you've either gone on vacation or just haven't been paying as close attention to like meals or things like that?
It's really hard. It's like you said, some people, I guess I start looking at the big picture, like the end result, versus just focusing on like, let's just wake up tomorrow. Like I think the best thing that helps me is, okay, let's just wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna like just for tomorrow. And then after a week things start to get easier for me, but it's literally just that first week that's the hardest for me, and then I'm like, okay, I got this. But for some reason, just those first few days, it's really hard. So I think just saying okay, or just taking it meal by meal, like you said, okay, just this meal I'm gonna eat my meal plan or whatever. And then I don't know, that's just what always helps me, taking it just day by day. And that's the only way for me.
What do you feel like is like the hardest part that you struggle with when it comes to like getting back? Is it like just the foods in and of itself, like make like the meal prep side of it, like just like eating foods that like maybe you don't like crave or like want, or like
like just not, I have an issue of just overeating or just eating bad food that's not going to digest well with me or just sit well with me or make me feel good. Because it's like a dopamine addiction, I guess. So yeah, and I've always been super on point with training. Like I love training and everything. It's just the meals were the hardest for me. But then once I get in the swing of things, I'm like, oh, the meals are the easy part. It's the cardio that's the hard
Yeah.
part.
Do you feel like you don't really get in like training ruts often? It's more just like food ruts?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like that. Well, no, I guess I'm probably the same. But I feel like I do get into like training ruts. It's not as often as food ruts, but I definitely have them.
And it's like, if say you are in a training rut, just keep going. Like, because I'll go to the gym, we all go to the gym and we're just like not feeling it that day, or like maybe we're not feeling it for like days on end or something. Eventually you're gonna get like the little spark back, and maybe you're gonna have better training days than others when you're not feeling it or whatever. Or just like taking a few days off from the gym might help, which I've done before.
I think that's huge too. I feel like I forget about doing that. Like sometimes what like distance makes or absence makes the heart grow fonder, whatever the saying is. Like sometimes you just need to like take it away, like reel it in a little bit, and then be like, okay, actually, like maybe I was just overtraining. Like maybe I needed to deload or whatever that looks like. And the body's not meant to just progress and progress and progress and progress.
So
like
true.
You're supposed to, like you're going to hit like a wall where like all of a sudden like you've accumulated so much fatigue over time where like you have to actually like give yourself a reset.
Yes.
And then you'll end up being stronger for it. Like that first week back, maybe you'll be like a little bit weaker or like coming off of the deload. But after that, like usually I feel like my strength will like skyrocket.
Yeah. That's a good point to remind people about the deloading, because it's so important and it is super beneficial to make progress.
That's been harder for me, like coming from like powerlifting to bodybuilding, because like when I was training as a powerlifter, I would focus more on like my compound movements. So like the squat, bench, and deadlift. I mean, you still have like compound movements. They're just different now. But I feel like it was easier to like progress in like certain blocks with those movements compared to like now I can probably train a little bit longer without having to deload. But because you don't have like this is like, because bodybuilding and powerlifting are not like separate entities. Like there's a lot of overlap in the two, but like my training is just so different now that it's hard for me to be like, okay, let's reel it in. Like I can never really tell like once I'm like reaching the point of like like accumulated fatigue. So it's kind of just based off of like
how you feel.
Yeah.
I know. And too, when you're eating more and you have a little more body fat, you could probably go a lot longer without doing it. Because in prep I would do like every 4 weeks towards the end. But that might not
That's
be
kind of what it was like
then.
for like in powerlifting too. It was like every like 4 to 5 or 6 weeks. And I feel like recently I haven't really gone. It's probably been like over 2 months since I've like had like a true deload, but I haven't felt like I've needed
your body's
it.
Just
like I'm not. I'm not overly tired. Like all of my recovery is like really well, but I'm also getting more food now too. So like there's just a bunch of variables in place.
That's a good sign. It means like your body is just like, okay. So we're gonna segment to our little questions portion of the episode. So this one I thought would be geared best towards you because you're in a long-term relationship, and they asked how to keep things fun and spontaneous in a long-term relationship.
Okay. So Joe and I have been together for 3 years in March. So I feel like in the beginning, obviously it's like easy, like you're just doing all of like the new and fun things together. And then I feel like once you hit like that like 2-year mark, it's kind of like you have your favorite things that you like to do, and you just like get into this like routine. But what Joe and I have done recently is at the beginning of the year we like I made like this little, I like arts and crafts, so I like made this little I guess kind of like a calendar where like each of us have like a date night a month that we'll plan.
So
and so it'll kind of alternate back and forth. I've seen other people do this also, where they do like one date, one person plans like an out of the house date, and then one person plans like an in the house date.
That's so cute.
Which is like super cute. But I just like get a bunch of like recommendations and things for like date ideas from like Instagram, and Joe and I actually have like a shared you can like have a shared saved folder on Instagram where you can like save people's videos or like suggestions and things like that. So we'll just like both share those, and then that way if we're like ever running out of a date idea, like we can pick from there. And then we don't do this, but I'll throw this out for other people. But my mom had gotten like one of those like adventure challenge books.
Oh, cute.
Have you seen those?
I think I've heard of this.
So it's like a scratch off like date book.
Oh no, I've never heard of
So
this.
it's a scratch off date book,
Okay.
and then you get like a Polaroid camera, and then you
Oh.
like the dates are kind of like
cheesy.
Like they're
Okay.
a little cheesy. Like Joe and I have done like maybe 3 or 4 of them, and we're like every time we scratch it off, we're like, okay, how are we gonna modify this? Like we never actually do it.
What is an example of it?
So one of the ones that we did, but like modified it,
Yeah.
was it was like make your own pizza at home, but you do it blindfolded.
Oh.
And so like one person like is supposed to give the other person like instructions and stuff, and I'm just like, we just want to eat the damn pizza.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, we just want, like making the pizza together is fun.
right, exactly. But I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. There was one that was like a movie night, like an outdoor movie night that you could do with like a projector and like a screen. I'm like, so it gives you like categories of like outside dates, inside dates, how much money each of them cost,
Okay.
like so you can like plan accordingly.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's just like they're like a little cheesy,
Yeah.
but they're cute.
It's the good ideas.
But I think just having like intentional date nights together is one of the best things that you can do, just because like with living with someone,
that makes it like different.
it makes it so much harder because you just get into like your routine and like you're seeing that person all the time, but like you're not actually like spending quality time with them. So it's like you need to make sure that you're like setting apart time to not just like watch TV or like be around each other doing like your own thing, but okay, hey, like even if we're at home, like this is a movie night that we're doing with like, you know, whatever snacks and whatever that may be, or like going out and doing something, and
Ellie,
like, this is intentional.
Sorry.
This is
She
intentional
likes to pee.
quality time.
Come here. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
She probably has to pee.
We can pause.
Can I let her pee?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as this person had wrote in asking about like alcohol effects on progress. So I actually don't know this. I feel like I don't know if you like drink a lot or like what your like drinking habits are.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something you can like touch on.
That's a good question. So I used to drink a lot more when I was like a little bit younger, but I mean, I've only drank a few times last year. I did drink. So I think, okay, to answer the question, I think you can still make progress drinking alcohol, but
That
you
might
just
be a
have
hot
to-
take.
Yeah. You can still make progress drinking alcohol, but you can't be going out and drinking every weekend or like drinking every night. Like when I was in prep, I drank alcohol one time, and I mean, I was still freaking shredded and looked amazing for my show. So, but I did that when I was like 16 weeks out from my show. Granted, I know people that will drink when they're 6 weeks out from their show, 2 weeks out from their show, which I don't recommend. But if you're going to drink, just limit it and just remind yourself what your actual goals are, I think
people forget that like alcohol has calories in it, and like if you're going out to the bar or whatever every single weekend and drinking like 1,000+ calories and alcohol, and you're trying to lose weight, you're essentially, it's no different than you having like a cheat meal or something like that. And it's not really providing you any type of like nutritional like benefit whatsoever.
So true.
So like if you're going to like drink, like I was just telling Joe, like for whatever reason I don't drink a lot often at all really, but I've kind of never really been that way, more so in college, but not like once I realized that like I felt like if I was drinking every single weekend I wasn't really going to like make a lot of progress. That's when I kind of was just like I can't do it halfway. Like I'm not just gonna like go and have one drink. Like if I'm gonna drink, I'm going to probably get drunk, and then like that's gonna be it for the year, and then we're good to go. But yeah, I feel like I lost my train of thought. But with doing it like every weekend, like that's not going to be like sustainable like long term. And so if you're doing it, then only doing it in moderation, as far as trying to like watch like for your progress and things like that.
I completely agree. I think if you're an avid drinker, you just have to decide what is more important to you. Making goals are going out and drinking every weekend. But if you only drink a few times a year, I wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah, I
to
would
be
like not
honest.
even count
Yeah,
that as
it's
anything.
like, because I drink like maybe a few 3 times a year, and
Mhm.
I'll have a few glasses of wine or like a drink, and it's
Mhm.
like I'm not even gonna think about it,
Mhm.
and it's not gonna make any effect on you. So
Yeah, I think that's
that's a good question. Do you feel like there's a lack of knowledge in medicine about nutrition and understanding labs?
Oh, 100%. This
Yeah.
is one of the ones that I saw where I was like, I think we could do like a whole entire podcast
I would
episode
love
about this.
to-
What was it?
yeah.
So a lack of education on nutrition and labs.
Yeah, knowledge in medicine about nutrition and understanding labs.
Yeah, I think just in general, this is definitely not something that I want to like glance over because I'm like very passionate about this topic. I don't know if I had mentioned this in the last podcast, but I'm a physician assistant. So I like see how kind of like the healthcare system works, and I've worked in a bunch of different fields. So I've like worked in emergency medicine, family medicine, and now hormones, which I attribute a lot of that me wanting to work in hormones towards bodybuilding because like they're so synergistic, and like everything and like how your body functions internally is so important. But I feel like so many patients that I used to see, like they don't understand, like they don't even know what like basic macronutrients are, where it's like they don't know what a carb is, a protein is, a fat is, what foods have those ingredients in them, and like how important each of them are for like your digestion and keeping you full. Like there's so much that we could go into, but
we need a full episode.
Yeah, full episode for sure.
Yeah.
There's just so much lack of awareness, and not just in like the fitness community, just like in general, like in all of
the general
America,
population.
like general population just doesn't really understand. And like I think we could also talk about like diet culture and like how that kind of like our parents' generations, like I can give like examples of like just all of the stuff that I feel like I've seen that point as well with like the labs. So many people I think are misdiagnosed with a lot of different illnesses because of certain symptoms that they may be experiencing, but like it doesn't actually fit into any particular category. Like let's say, you know, someone gets diagnosed with like anxiety or depression, but like maybe it's just your hormones being off, or like people, but like this is like another reason why like medicine is kind of broken right now, is that like healthcare in the United States is like an illness-based model and not like a wellness-based model. So like a lot of insurance companies aren't even going to cover for like certain people getting these labs done. And so the general population is not going to think, oh, this is something that's super important for me. So like you're starting to see people like advocate for their own health now, like more these days. I feel like people are a lot more vocal about it on like social media, which I think is really good because people need to talk about like how certain symptoms are not like just normal, like especially with like your menstrual cycles and like different things like that. Like there's so many women that struggle with hormone imbalances, like all of this stuff that are just like given birth control. And like, that's another topic that we can go into like in so much detail.
And it's so crazy because you can go to the doctor and they actually give you a general doctor, at least doctors that I've gone to, they give you a hard time if you ask if you can get your labs done versus like if you just want to order them online for $80, like you can't even go to your doctor and get them.
To like the defense, because I was one of those people at one point in my career, which is why I had the career switch, is because I hated telling people that I like couldn't order or wouldn't order those labs. A lot of times it's not because like the provider, well, let me not speak in absolutes, but it might not be because the provider doesn't want to order them or like they aren't trying to help you. But like a lot of times what will happen is like insurance companies won't cover it.
Oh, that's
and
annoying.
So it's not really like the provider. It's more of like the insurance being like, we're not going to pay for you to get these labs done because nothing's actually wrong with you. But like there are things wrong with you. They're just not good. Like
they don't want to,
for whatever reason, they don't want to cover it. So I think that's just like the provider having like your financial back, but not like your like backing up your health. And so I think that's like where one of the barriers to that is as well. But at the end of the day, if someone's telling you that they're just going to pay out of pocket for their labs, like just let them do it. Just order them.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
But you can always go to like other websites and things like that and
makes it easy.
Yeah, get them ordered that way. So
that's true. That's a whole thing. We got to go into
that.
I would love to pick your brain about
next
that
week for sure.
Okay.
this person had asked, what are your thoughts on THC use for athletes?
I think it helps. Well, for me, it might not help for some people, but for me, at least when I'm in prep, it helps me kill my appetite, like
Okay.
100%. So it sounds crazy.
That's surprising.
Yeah, because some people, it will give them munchies and make them hungry and everything like that. But it helped me a lot during prep, especially the beginning of prep.
Okay.
Because
do you feel like it was from like a not like a focus, but like just kind of like de-stress
maybe
sense, or
I feel like, I don't know, honestly, it just helped me.
Do you have a hard time getting like your meals that like are like your prep meals in when you?
No, because I'll just at the very end of the night.
Oh, okay.
I'll just take it at the end of the night.
Okay, so you're not doing it like throughout the day. It's just like a nightcap.
Yeah.
So then do you feel like it helps with like your sleep in prep, especially when your food gets really low?
Yes, because when you get super lean, you just, I mean, oh my gosh, it's so hard to stay asleep. You wake up at like 4 a.m. I would be eating at like 4 in the morning because I'm so hungry.
Because you'd be so hungry. So
but then you're done eating at like 4 p.m. And
then
like,
Joe would struggle with that too sometimes. Like he would wake up at like 4:30 and then have like all of his meals in. He's like, all right, I'm going to bed. And it was like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, okay, I'll go. I guess I'll go to bed too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's right or wrong.
That's heavy.
But I feel like just from like a medical standpoint with like the THC, I think it's just like making sure like you understand your own like tolerance, like how it's going to affect you. Cause like, I'm sure in some ways, I'm sure in some ways it can definitely, sit. Oh.
Okay. Last question. People re-racking their weights, 45-pound plates in front of a 10.
How long do you have? No,
I know.
This is so infuriating to me. This happens all the time at our gym.
All the time.
Oh my God. It's so annoying. So if you have so many places to re-rack your weights and there's a 10 on one, only put 10s or smaller weights in front of it. Like don't put a 45-pound plate in front of a smaller weight. It doesn't make any sense. Like
zero.
You're just making the other person have to work harder for literally only a 2.5-pound plate. Like why? I don't want to lift a whole 45-pound off and then put it down and then get the other one. It's so frustrating.
And those weights are there's not very many of them in our gym, like the 10 pounds. So it's like the 45-pound plate is like hiding all of them.
Exactly. And it's just super frustrating when there's so much equipment and there's so many places for people to re-rack their weights and you still manage to put it in the wrong spot. Like if you're strong enough to lift the weight, you're strong enough to put it back where it belongs.
Yeah.
Like gym etiquette 101, people.
And on that note, it's a wrap. Yeah.
Like, come on.
Mic drop.
It's so frustrating. Just be nice.
I know. Stop making it harder for everybody.
Especially for the little ladies.
Exactly. Okay. Well, that was good. I feel like we did great.
I missed you.
I know. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.
See ya.
Why did we both do that?
My little pancakes.